G'day guys, how's it going? Alright, so we're going to do a review on the Trangia Alcohol Stove. Now this particular one is the 27-8 UL/HA. I think that's to do with the size, it's to do with the components that it comes with it, and then whether it's got anodized or the non-stick or it's just the plain aluminium. If you look up Trangia, you'll see it. You can work it all out for yourself. Basically what I've done is I've gone for the whole 9 yards. So basically it comes with everything including the kettle. I've gone with the hard anodized surface because my pot system that I use is hard anodized, and I really like the way that that works. Now I've got to tell you, I'm coming at this from a biased point because this is what I always use. This is my favourite thing. It's the most simplest, cheapest bloody thing that you can use. Now this works for me here in Australia, and with where I go and what I do. When I was looking at this Trangia stove, and I looked at it years ago, and I couldn't see. Yeah, it costs a lot of money. I'll tell you, I bought this from Wild Earth. This is not sponsored or anything like that. I paid $199.50 for it. Just bought it online off wildearth.com.au. That's a lot of money. A bloody lot of money. And I wouldn't normally do that, but you know, doing these reviews and the channel and all that, this is why I've bought this thing, and I thought, no, let's do it. And that's why I bought the whole enchilada. I mentioned in the Man Cave Tuesday thing, when I looked at the alcohol burners, I most probably would have bought the Trangia burner, and then they have a little thing that it sits in, a pot holder, which then your pot sits on top of that. And basically that's what I would have went with, used my existing pot system and fry pan. But because I'm doing the review on it, I wanted to do the whole thing. Now I'm going to stop bullshitting on. Let's get into opening this up. Let's see what's in it. We're going to start it up, light it, use all the functionalities of it. I've already pre-done this, and I'm actually, I'm impressed with it, I've got to say. Now, and we're going to cook some pancakes as well. I've done some tests with it, which I'll get into. All right, let's do this. So there's a strap that holds it all together. Basically pulls out like that. This here is your fry pan. Like that. So one fry pan. We have one of those holders. You can see that. They've been around for years. Comes with a kettle, cute little kettle. I really like this kettle. Have 2 bowls. Now, the fry pan is hard anodized. The 2 bowls or pots are hard anodized, and they obviously nest in each other. Then we have our base. So that all this does is it's basically a base. The whole idea why it has the holes on there is if it's windy, you face the holes into the wind, and it just provides oxygen for the flame to burn. And then we have the windshield part of it, which also has these little clippy things, which are used for the pots, the kettle, and also the frying pan. Now what we're going to do is basically stick this down on here. This, you can see that it has little grooves there. Basically on here you sit it down and just move it, and then it locks in. So when you pick this up, it all holds together. Now inside the kettle, there's a little yellow bag, and that's where our burner is. that's our burner. On top of that, that is the simmer ring, or what it basically does is you can adjust the flame using that. Then it has a cap like that, and then that's the burner there. So basically all you got to do is put your methylated spirits in there and light it, and away you go. So inside this, around on the inside between the two metal bits, is actually a bit of material which soaks up and then helps to pre-warm, blah blah blah. So that's basically everything that comes here. So we've got our base, windshield, fry pan, pot 1, pot 2, kettle, pipe holder, the burner, and the simmer ring for the burner. Okay, so to make this thing work, and I'm going to run through, give you some times of some of the testing that I've done and my thoughts on it. So all we're going to do is put some methylated spirits in it. Obviously you'd be able to run a whole heap of liquid fuels, and they don't say it, but you would be able to run unleaded petrol in it. I didn't say that. So I'm just filling this up, and I can see it fills it up, and then actually it goes down because it's equalising between. I reckon it's about 2/3 full. Now you can put only a little bit in there, but they say about 2/3 is the max. Now I did a test with that, and I got 30 minutes of strong flame out of that. So once you've done that, just plop that in there. Then all we've got to do is light it, and that's it. So at the moment you might not be able to see a flame, but you just do that. I can see the blue flame. Now I'm not going to worry about using this. I will show you it in action. So now we just put our little wind thing over. I did a test and it took 3 minutes for it to get fully going. Now that was the very first time that was used. The temperatures was about 10 degrees Celsius. I think it might be about 8 degrees Celsius at the moment. Alright, so I'm going to just wait for that to get going, and then I'll come back to you. Actually guys, what I'm going to do is I will talk about the difference between this one and one of these, the gas one. If I get this just arced up. I suppose the positive over this one as opposed to this one is that, oh my god, is that bloody, geez, that threw me awry. Instantly you start it up and away it goes. If you want to turn it down, you just do that and you can turn it down. If you finish with it, you turn it off, and that's it. It is done. Now, as we'll see in a minute with this, that's the only thing, using the simmer ring to adjust the heat and turning it off, and whether you've got to let all the, burn all the fuel out and then pack it and all that kind of stuff. That's a little bit more contrived with this system, but this system has basically, and I don't know whether they advertise it that way or whether it was the way that people on YouTube talked about this thing. This unit, it's just a really stable unit, and you'll use this anywhere. I don't care whether you're trekking in the Antarctic, this system's gonna work. Whereas this system's gonna struggle. Now I'm not trekking in the Antarctic, so I don't have to worry about those things. But I reckon this system is just, I don't know, I haven't used it that much, but I'm really impressed with it. It just feels like a solid thing to cook on. Like, this can sometimes be a little bit, fibbly, and especially when you get a pot on top of that, type thing. I never have a problem, but it's, you're always thinking about it. Be careful not that it's going to tip over. This thing you don't you don't think about it. Now what I'm going to do, they do say if you put this pan on there, it'll get to heat that burner up, and then that flame will really start going, and that'll actually work a lot quicker. Alright guys, so there you go, that's pretty much it going full bore. It may get a little bit hotter as it goes along. So the number one thing is you've got a little bit of time to wait, but really look, what are we doing? We're going camping, you know, we don't need things that quick. When I did the test of, I filled this up, put it on there. So to put this on here, you just bend these things in, like that, and then that sits in there, and it's really good. I actually really like it. So what I did was I filled this up, which is 600 mils, and it basically gives me 2 cups, two of these cups. So I timed it, and on this stove it was 9 minutes to boiling. Then I tested it on this, and it took, I've got to go check, hang on, it was 7.5 minutes. That's not a big difference. Yeah, that does do it quicker, but really, I mean, that's the thing. We all get so finicky, and you get down to, you know, nitty gritties. And in the real world, an extra minute, an extra 2 minutes, an extra 3 minutes. Who gives a bloody who's what's it about it? You know. All right. Now, let's say we want to shut this off. We're finished with using it. So you can I see so many people grabbing this and then just trying to drop it in there like that. You can just lift that off like that, and you just do that, and that's it, it's out. That's all over. Now the one downside to that is there's still fuel in there, and I would then have to pick that up and try and tip it. It's a real silly thing. So if you're using this, you want to put in, and you would get to know after a while, how much to pour in there to do, whether you're doing a cup of coffee, which is only going to take you 9 minutes to boil it, or whether you're going to cook something for half an hour, so that you're not wasting that fuel. Alright, so now we'll just get that going again. I'll show you this simmering. I'll let that hook up again. Alright, so this simmering, basically its job is to cover those outside jet things. So if we leave the simmering in a fully open position, plonk that on there, you can see hopefully that has just slowed that way down. Now if you wanted to close it off even more, and this is a problem, when you do that the whole thing moves around, you can't do it, so you've got to take this off. Now that's going to be, well, that's not too bad, but that would get really hot. You actually have to do that. So I don't know whether this is going to loosen up over time. Unless if we do it half, and then that basically slows that down even further again. So that's what I was saying with this, that just to be able to turn it up and down and whatever is a whole lot easier. But again, you know, normally when I'm using that, I put it on full bore, cook, turn it off, that's it. There's very few times that I do, you know, if I'm cooking meals and bits and pieces, especially when I'm doing this shit easy motorcycle camp cooking ones, you know, I will turn that down to a simmer for some things. But, you know, everything has a trade-off and off and on. So now, I don't know if that's going to be hot, but grab that off. Get that going again. Slide this back on. Now, one thing I've noticed is this doesn't get too hot. Now, it's cold here at the moment, so maybe if you're in the middle of bloody summer and you've been cooking for half an hour, but even when I had it testing before, it was really nice and warm. It was actually good for my cold hands. But, yeah, which is a good thing. So, being able to take that off without using this, but if you have to, you know, if that was really hot, you could do that. Not a problem. Now remember, I'm still only new to this, so if it's looking a bit clunky, it's not clunky to use. So as I said, let's put some water So I've just half filled it. That in there, stick that on there, and away that goes. That's just going to start cooking away. Yeah, if you wanted to cook some stew or whatever, you whack it in there, stick it on there like that. Away you go. Obviously, once that gets hot, you then use your little. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Same with the other pot. Fits in there exactly the same. And then you got your fry pan. Ooh. Now with the fry pan, you got to pull these out. Like that. Stick that on there. So that works really good. And like I was saying, the biggest thing I think with this is just that it's such a stable body, clunking around, moving around, whereas on this one I'd have to be a bit more careful. The fact that it's got its built-in windshield straight up, I don't have to, like if it's windy or whatever, I've got one of those fold-out ones that, you know, I put out and around and all that kind of stuff. That's just all built in and part of it. So what I've got to do, actually, I've got to go get some butter. And we're just going to cook up some pancakes and see how that goes with it. Alright guys, so pan goes on there. A bit of butter here, chuck that in there. Sounds like it's working like a proper bloody fry pan. Jesus. Alright, so that... See, I'm working stuff out as I go along. Alright, let's get this stuff going. Oh, might be a bit hot. Just lift that up a bit. And this is where when you get used to using a stove and having that simmer, knowing that if you're going to be doing pancakes, I should have put the simmer on. But we'll work with it. If I can make this work now, it'll be a good thing. Oh dear. Might have buggered it. Damn it, I buggered it. It was too hot. Oh man. Alright, that's totally buggered. What I've got to do, work out where that thing is, get this simmer thing going. That might be a better heat. Alright, I need to clean this up and then I'll come back. Alright guys, I'm back. I've cleaned up the mess. So I've got the simmer ring on at a temperature that I think is going to be alright for the pancakes. As I was saying, this is all... Oh, my spatula. Alright, spatula. Alright, so that's feeling a little bit better. Alright, let's have a second shot. Now we wait. So this is where I suppose the big downfall to this particular, and with alcohol stoves, is that you just don't have that ability to adjust that flame quickly and easily, or as quick as you can with one of these things. Right, how are we going here? Slowly getting there. So I possibly could have had that heat a little bit more. And I'll show you, like, I just can't turn that thing unless someone can tell me that there's some way of doing that without burning yourself, which is something that I regularly do. God, I feel like I'm stuffing it again. What is that burning in the middle? Alright, so this is a little bit when I was cooking pancakes on this. Actually, I'm going to go and get something. For on this stove, to avoid that hot point in the middle, I use one of these little wire mat things with that ceramic center, and that distributes the heat out. So I don't know whether that could have some way of fitting that on there. So maybe, yeah, I could rig something up. Oh, how's that? Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, so as you can see, it's just burning. You're just getting that heat right on that middle thing. Alright, I'm not giving up. Let's have another shot at this. Alright guys, third time. Hang in there with me. Alright, so we've got this little thing heat on there. Let's see if that works a bit better. Alright. Yeah, actually you can see it's way more spread out. Now I didn't properly clean this the third time, but it should be all right. All right, so now we just got to wait. Instantly looking way better. Should have cleaned the pan. There you go, guys. How's that? It's amazing the difference that gauze mat makes to when you're cooking on a flame that has such a pointy bit, which the alcohol stove does that. And also these little gas butane stoves, it's the same problem. Oh, that's really good. I'm happy that that's worked out that way. Wow, that just ripped that right off. Wow. Oh, look at that. That flame got way hotter. Ooh, ow, ow, ow. Alright, so this outside part does get hot. Yeah, okay, so that's an issue with that flame. It's very unstable. As you saw, it was like that to start with, but then it got a whole lot hotter. But there you go. I'm sitting here thinking I was so actually happy with the way this was working until I started actually cooking on it. I think that's got to be just getting used to how it is. For boiling water and doing stews and stuff like that. I mean, pancakes can always be the pancakes is the indicator, I suppose, because they can be tricky. Some people have been going, pancakes are so easy. And see now, so that's going way down. So that's a real downfall for me. That's a real downfall. That flame or the heat source is very unstable. Shit, that is still hot. Alright, so shut that off. Cool, alright. That's what I first thought about these, was that there's lots of little bits and pieces and oohs and ahs and all that kind of stuff with it. I don't know. Obviously there'll be Trangia people that use it and they'll be thinking, Mark, you're just a bloody dickhead. They're fantastic, and then that's fine. I'm happy with that. Yeah. So all right, to finish off this particular review, I will continue using it and getting better at it, and then maybe come back with a second opinion. So normally what you would do is you would just let that run out, so that the leftover methylated spirits is gone. Once that's gone, I did it. This gets really hot, but it's not too bad. It only took about 3 minutes max for that to cool down enough to put this lid on. So when you go to pack this away, you never leave that lid on there when it's hot, because see that black O-ring in there? You'll end up wrecking that O-ring. So you just got to make sure when you go to pack all this away, or when you put it out, make sure you then take that back off and only re-close that up when it's cooled down, otherwise you'll wreck that O-ring. They say not to carry the fuel in there because they can leak in storage. A lot of people don't have problems with it, but I suppose once that O-ring gets a bit worn, you may have some issues. But once you get used to how much you need, you should be able to just burn it all out and just never have it in there anyway. Now, from the point of my system that I have, I suppose when you add my pot to it, they're pretty much similar in size. You still have to carry your methylated spirits, because that's something that people say is that, if you run out of fuel and that it's very hard to get these canisters, where are you going to get them? If you use these, you can run you can get methylated spirits anywhere. Well, no, that's not true actually. If you're on the Appalachian Trail, and that's over in America, and you're halfway through and you run out, well, there's nowhere over there, nowhere there that you're going to get some alcohol. Obviously, if you're on a motorbike, well, yeah, you can get it out of some unleaded petrol out of the tank, no worries. But I've done heaps. I've been using these for years, and I've always taken too many of these bloody things. And when you look at, now you can get this is a big bottle, but I don't know how long you're going, but you're going to have the same size. This will run full bore for over 2 hours worth of cooking on it. So that's a bloody long time. I've never had to take any more than 2 of these with me, and I always come back with extra gas. I've never actually run out. So I think, it's a selling point, I suppose. But normally, if you're out, a smart person's always going to take enough gas with them. Alright guys, I suppose, is that, oh I can't, still got this, let's try something. I'm going to try and see if I can pour this out. I've got to get something that I can pour it into. Oh shit, I just spilled the bloody stuff. Alright, I'm just going to pour it into this. I watched someone else doing it and it came out like, yeah, depending on how you do it. Oh no, so you can still pour it out. I watched someone doing it and when they tipped it over, it acted like a shower, but that's because he turned it all the way over. So if you turned it like that, you can pour it out into like a small bottle. Alright guys, so we're empty, we're clean. That's cool enough. So we just put our lid on there. The simmer ring, oh, goes straight on the top of that. Out the way. This gets turned over, that goes in there. Pot into the pot, into there. I've got to pour the water out of this. This goes in the little bag, just in case there's something in there and it's going to leak. That goes in there. Drop that in there. They go down. That goes in there. Yeah, this then goes upside down onto there, and then that just gets looped through and on and on. So it is pretty simple to use. It's not overly complicated. My biggest thing with it is just that adjustability of the flame, and I think it's just going to get used to doing it. All right, I'm going to stop babbling on, guys. I will come back in another one and hopefully do a better review of it. Cool. Oh, don't forget, keep on riding, and if you ain't riding, keep on bloody keeping on.